Hey everybody, this is Matt Sheridan with Your ATL Agents alongside with my wonderful colleague Cynthia. How are you doing
I'm
today?
good. I'm good. It's cold here.
It is cold. She's wearing her
I'm
heated
wearing a
vest that we
heated
got her.
vest.
But we are here today to bring you value in education, and we are interviewing one of our preferred lenders, one of our favorite lenders,
Yes.
Mr. Kevin Rubin with Southeast Mortgage Solutions. Kevin, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Wonderful.
We
Thanks for
both are
having
doing great, right?
Yes,
So we're
we're doing
often
great.
crazy busy this first of the year, so we need lenders
Yes, and y'all been working together for how long?
years.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, we've known each other for probably over 15,
Yeah.
but we probably worked together for over 10.
Yeah. And when I first used Kevin, I was like, whoa, this guy is amazing. We need to add him to our list of preferred vendors. And ever since then, you've been at the top of the list. So we've got lots of good experiences and wanted you to share some of the ins and outs of what you do for
Yeah,
Yeah,
love
and
to
some
try
of
and help.
the value that you bring. Just tell us what separates you from some of the other lenders in the industry.
Sure. So I'm a broker. So I represent, probably 10 banks. I focus really on 5 banks. And the benefit of that is because I can shop the rate, because some banks go in and out based on volume or what programs they're pushing. And we don't take any money up front from the client. So when they go binding, they're going to have to pay for a home inspection. So we pay for the appraisal in their behalf. Now
wow.
we get reimbursed when they close,
There you
but
go.
they're not sending me a check. And if God forbid the house doesn't appraise or it doesn't inspect, and they terminate for whatever reason because things happen, we don't make them pay for it because they're already spending money on an inspection on a house they're not buying. So we eat the appraisal because look, if we're going into this as a partnership, if they're willing, if they want to partner up with us, we should have some stake in the game too, because hopefully they'll stick with us on the next house and have a closing eventually.
And I find that as a unique, valuable.
We can, yeah, we're one of the few that do that, and then we eat it if it doesn't close. Um, Also, we can close really quick, so we can close in 8 business days. That's allowed. If we lock in, we're protecting them on the high, meaning if the rate that day, the best rate is, let's just say 6.5, and let's say they're closing in 30 days, and 2 weeks later the rates get better, and I can float them down or move it to another bank. We do that for them, and there's no cost to them for that. And then, but of course the market has to move, and it
Mhm.
has to be a benefit to them. And we make sure they know everything from start to finish. Like I'm involved from the get go. So I take the loan application over the telephone because the application online is there's a lot of questions. They just changed the application where there's a lot of stuff that buyers don't really need to fill out or they miss things. So it takes me about 10 minutes to do it, and we offer them the opt out link initially so that they don't get a million phone calls when credit's pulled,
We just had
and we can talk about that if
Yeah.
you yeah later on. But we close on an average of about 300 loans a year, and we don't miss a beat.
And
We
Kevin,
know your time. We make sure that if you have to have a short timeline, meaning 5 days due diligence, and we have to get the appraisal and the financing done during that time, we're going to do it
and how quickly do you answer your phone typically?
within it. I don't go to sleep, so
I
I'm
was gonna say
It's a loaded
working all
question.
the time.
another
If I
another
got paid by eye rolls by my wife at dinner time, I would be Bill
yeah.
Gates.
Yeah, me
I
too.
was gonna say I think a huge advantage of our partnership is that we know that you're gonna answer the phone when we call you, and if there's
You
anything,
see us calling and you're like, what can I
your
help you with?
availability is a huge value add to
Well,
us.
listen, real estate doesn't turn off. When you go look at a house, it could be at 8 o'clock at night on a weekday. It could be Saturday morning. It could be Sunday evening. You have to be, if the people that are good in the industry are available
Very
all
responsive.
the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't ever turn it off because if,
That's
if,
so
if I
great.
don't answer the phone, another Kevin Rubin will, and it will drive me crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us something. So obviously, I know you work with first-time home buyers and all that stuff. We're seeing a lot of incentives out there right now in this current market. where people are offering buy downs. Like, so can you help us explain like what a 2-down buy down is, what a two is, what the one means,
2-1.
and what it actually means total? Yeah.
Yeah, this is what happens. So the seller has to pay for it. Okay. So what they're actually paying for is the spread for you to have the lower rate the first year, the second year, and then going forward. So let's just say you had the best rate today and you got a 6.5% interest rate. And the first year, a 2-1 buy down means the first year it's 2 points. So your first year, you're paying it 4.5%. And let's say the difference in payment between, 6.5 and 4.5 is a $500 difference. So it's 500 times 12 months. So that's $6,000. And then the next year, it's 5.5. And let's say that savings is $250 a month. So it's 250 times 12 months. And you add the two numbers together, and that's what the cost is that the seller would have to pay to cover the buy down. Now,
so 9 grand, but is that the best avenue?
Well, now again, I mean, I would talk to the buyer and say, are you better off getting it toward closing costs? Because if rates fall and you do a refinance, then you've defeated the purpose. And you don't want to leave money on it. Now, they'll give you back whatever you don't use, but they reduce it off your loan balance, and then there's not a benefit. You're not getting a check.
Yeah. You're not getting that cash at closing as like.
Correct. So, we will talk about it and then decide what's the best way of using the money if the seller's willing to give it.
And sometimes the buyer may need that initial lower payment because maybe they're getting a bonus or a job raise or something.
Correct. But also if they're willing to give them the money, they're bringing that money less to the table, and you could get that money and then hope that rates fall in 6 to 8 months, and then you do a refinance, and now you've benefited. You got the money and your payment went down.
Yeah. Sweet.
And so in the current market that we're kind of in, what type of buyer are you getting the most business through? Like, who are you seeing? Is it,
first time?
Yeah, first time, or
no, do it all, but maybe right now it's somebody that's a second, that's not a first time home buyer that might be buying their second house because their family grew, and they're buying, and now they are going from a low interest rate like 3.5%, and they're now going up to 6.5%, but they don't really have a choice because they're running out of space.
Got to upsize,
or they're moving here for a job, or like maybe a parent is moving in with them, and they don't and they've got to find a bigger space because they don't have the money to put them in a retirement community. It's stuff like that. I mean, we get really a lot. We've recently gotten a lot of calls on jumbo loans because the new conforming loan limit is 806,500. So 806,500 is the new conforming loan limit. I mean, I remember when it was 271.
I was going to say, I remember when it was 3 something. And they were like,
it was like 304.
Yeah, but how much was $1 million house?
There's an inventory issue is because people just don't want to give up that low interest rate that they have because they don't want to downsize for a higher payment.
Well, I guess that's the thing. So what are you seeing? Like if someone needs to upsize and they're like, hey, how do I get my mortgage to be the closest? Are there ways outside of equity or other things that you're helping people understand or time frame wise to be able to get this to work?
It's really going to come down to where when they're going to see a benefit when rates come down. I mean, they have a number in their head that they're calling initially. By the time that they get to me, they have an idea that they've already accepted the fact that, hey, my payment's going to go up to get what I want.
Exactly.
I mean, there's certainly, I'm going to tell them if they're moving, if it's a lateral move, I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you, this is not a smart move. That I will tell them.
Yeah.
But isn't it true that over the last 50 years, the average mortgage rate was around 8%? So we're not really higher than that.
I've been in the business since 2002. And environment that we've been in the last 3 years, this is the highest I've ever seen rates.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think rates will come down. I think I'm a little surprised that rates are not somewhere in the high fives. Because that's what we were anticipating. And of course, it changed. And so I do think it's good, but it's going to be a slow crawl to get back into the fives.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to see threes again.
Yeah.
Of course, I hope that they do.
Yeah. I don't think we'll be back to that either.
There's so many topics that we'd love to go into with you, and wondered if we could reschedule another visit with you and hit on some of the other types of, loans and what you're seeing in the market, because everything shifts, everything moves,
Correct.
You watch rates probably three more times a day.
All day. I could get a rate change, good or bad, 3 times a day.
Yeah, that's what.
Sometimes it just doesn't move at all. And, and we get overnight protection, meaning if you, go under contract on a weekend, and I'm worried about rates getting worse on Monday, I can lock you in over the weekend.
Oh.
So we're going to protect them on the high, and so that they don't get caught, because, they've got to make plans based on what information I give them. Right. I'm not going to, if we have to take a haircut to make a deal work, we will.
Yeah, I've seen that personally. We know about that.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate your time, sir.
Anytime, guys. I love y'all's hard work and great partnership, and you're in good
hard work
if they use you guys.
All right. Well, we appreciate it.
All right, take care.
All right, Kevin. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.